Hello, doctors. Welcome back to Pirates of Medicine. Today, we are back with a high yield topic, the fever and its types on the basis of fever charts and the fever temperature ranges. So, first of all, a quick definition of fever. So, fever, according to medical science, it is a typical pathological process which is characterized by thermoregulation, reorganization, and increase of the body temperature or hyperthermia due to or in response to certain chemical or biological substances called as pyrogens. So, a quick recap about the pathogenesis of fever. So, the etiological factors which cause fever that you already know are called as pyrogens. Now, pyrogens can be exogenous, which include microbial lipopolysaccharides, exo and endotoxins of the microbes, or endogenous, which is also called as secondary, like interleukin 1. It is the most potent. Now, secondary ones are secreted by our own body in response to inflammation, infection, or other metabolic reactions. Correct. So, interleukin 1 is the most potent endogenous pyrogen, and other include interleukin 6, tumor necrosis factor, etc. Now, exogenous pyrogens are not true pyrogens as they cannot induce fever, but obviously interleukins and the other endogenous pyrogens are true pyrogens. Yes, because interleukin 1 is involved in the fever metabolism and the fever pathogenesis. So they are called as true pyrogens. So remember that the thermoregulation center is located in the hypothalamus. Now it acts like a thermostat, if you know what thermostat is, and it maintains a fixed point of the body temperature at around which is called our normal body temperature at around 36 to 37 degrees Celsius, and it works to maintain it at that fixed point. Okay, so if you see, I want to talk about the basic pathophysiology of fever. So, infections or lipopolysaccharide agents or endotoxin or any other exogenous pyrogens, what they do, they activate the antigen presenting cells like macrophages and the monocytes, which in turn release pyrogenic cytokines like I already told you, interleukin 1, tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 6. Now, these go into the circulation and they travel to the endothelium of the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, a gland located in our brain, skull basically. So, these what they do in the endothelium of the hypothalamus, they activate the synthesis of prostaglandins. These prostaglandins they go to the specific receptors, and what they do, they stimulate the hypothalamus to increase the temperature from its fixed set point. So the elevation of the set point of the temperature takes place. The body thinks that the new set point is slightly higher. So the body's temperature increases. How? By conserving heat loss and increasing heat production. So this is the mechanism of fever. Okay, so stages of fever are 3 and you should know about them. First stage is the stage of temperature increase. You can see over here the temperature increases steadily, also called as effervescence or stadium incrementi in Latin. Then we have the stage of maintenance of high body temperature. After some time, there is a persistent stage in which the fever remains at that point after increasing for a while. So it stays for that point. It depends on various types of fever, how long will the persistent stage last. And then there is a stage of temperature decrease, also called as defervescence and or stadium decrementi. Okay, so types of fever. First of all, according to the degree of temperature. Remember, we can divide the fever types into 4 parts depending on how much the temperature has increased. So if the temperature is between 37 and 38 degrees Celsius, it is called as subfebrile. If it is between 38 and 39 degrees Celsius, it is called as moderate. If it is between 39 and 41 degrees Celsius, it is called as high. If it is higher than 41 degrees Celsius, which is an extreme condition and very harmful for the body, it is called as hyperpyretic. So types of fever on the basis of nature of the temperature curve. So first of all, we have a very common febris continua or fever of constant or persistent type. Now the thing to remember is that this fever curve is characterized by a sustained increase in temperature. What it basically means is that throughout the whole period of fever, the temperature fluctuation is less than 1 degree Celsius from the morning to evening over a period of 24 hours. So less than 1 degree Celsius, it is fever of constant type or persistent type. Now it is typically observed in lobar pneumonia, typhoid, meningitis, UTIs or typhus. Then we have febris remittent or fever of remittent type. Now it refers to a fever curve where there are daily fluctuations of more than 1 degree Celsius. So slightly different from the febris continua, if you remember, from the morning to evening. And remember, the temperature does not touch normal. Even in the febris continua, the temperature never touches the normal. It fluctuates, but never touches the normal. Yes, even in remittance, it fluctuates, but never touches the normal. So, it is observed in rickettsial infections, infective endocarditis, brucellosis, second half of the course of typhoid, tuberculosis, sepsis, etc. Then we have an interesting fever type called as febris intermittent or fever of intermittent type. Now, this refers to a fever curve characterized by intervals wherein the temperature is elevated for several hours, followed by a period in which the temperature falls back to normal. So you can see even in the chart, the temperature rises, stays up, and then falls back to normal. Then rises, falls back to normal. Now there is an alternation of fever, paroxysms, and a febrile period, which is called as apyrexia. Correct? Now, if you know about malaria, you already know that these paroxysms are typical for malaria. Also, this type of fever is seen in Borrelia, schistosomiasis, Kala-Azar infections, Pyemia, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis as well. Then we have febris recurrens or fever of return type. Now, it refers to a fever curve in which attacks of fever last for several days, and then they are followed by a critical decrease of body temperature and a period of pyrexia lasting for several days. So, a few days of high fever, then a few days of normal temperature, then again high fever, then again normal temperature. This is typically seen in characteristically relapsing fever and the FAFA syndrome, which includes periodic fever, aphthous ulcers, pharyngitis, and adenopathy. Then we have febris hectica, hectic fever, or also called as debilitating fever. Now, it refers to sharp characteristic swings in temperature with spikes, fluctuations in the temperature up to 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. You can see in the chart, the temperature is increasing a lot. 37 to 40, coming back to 36.8, going back to 39.9, coming back to 36.5, going back to 40. So hectic fever, sharp swings in temperature, dramatic spikes is characteristic. It is typically observed in severe type of pulmonary tuberculosis and also sometimes seen in some severe septic infections. Then we have atypical fever or febris irregularis. Simple words, it does not follow any rule. There is irregularly fluctuating curve, there are no regular patterns, and it is complete violation of circadian rhythm. It is seen in certain types of sepsis, in chronic bronchitis, and rheumatism. Okay, then we have the febris undulans or undulating fever, and you can see that this appears like a wave of sea. So undulans means a wave-like appearance. So there is a gradual increase in temperature followed by a gradual decrease, so that a wave-like falling and rising is seen in the temperature chart. Yes. So after that it is followed by a small febrile period, and this fever is characteristic for the infections caused by some species of brucellosis. Correct? So that is all for today. I hope you like this video. Now remember, make sure that you are subscribed or follow our Instagram page, because we will be posting a short quiz covering all these questions of Croc on the topic of fever. So if you don't follow us on our Instagram, make sure you follow. The username is Parrots of Medicine. Anyway, this has been good. See you in the next one.